Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Tuesday night to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM, our late night show. Are you kidding me? Ladies and gentlemen of Jacksonville, Florida, let me ask you a question. Where else would you rather be? I mean, where else would you rather be at 10:04 Eastern Standard Time on a Tuesday night than right here with Dylan Denmark and yours truly on Hacker After Dark? And we certainly appreciate you joining us for our late night program. We got a lot to get into, from the NBA to college football, a little high school recruiting, and, of course, Super Bowl 58. Guest lineup in hour number one, my buddy Brent Beard talking college ball. And I want to throw a couple of things at Brent. I said this last night, and it's a number that's really stuck with me. 54 underclassmen in college football declared for the NFL draft this year. 54. Go back 5 years, 2019, over 140 players in college ball declared for the NFL draft. That is a drastic change. Obviously, that's NIL related. Obviously, that's transfer portal and the COVID year. And there's a lot of reasons for it. But it makes college football better, right? More people are staying longer in the game of college football. So we'll talk with Brent about that, a little Senior Bowl, a little Super Bowl talk as well. Also, speaking of the Super Bowl, we'll begin our previews tonight. Jose Sanchez, all49ers.com, out in Las Vegas. He will stop by to give us the San Francisco side of this matchup. That comes up in a little over an hour. Zach Hanshu of Roto World talking NBA as well later on in the 10 o'clock hour, as the NBA trade deadline is less than 48 hours away. Thursday afternoon is the trade deadline. We are approaching the All-Star game, as most NBA teams only have about 30 games remaining in their regular season. So we got a lot to do. We're glad you're with us. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
So I said this after Championship Sunday, that I wasn't there yet with Kansas City and San Francisco. I was going to try to get there, but I wasn't enthused about it. I wanted Detroit. I thought Detroit, Kansas City would be awesome. I thought Detroit, Baltimore would be very good. I was a little bummed when San Francisco knocked out Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions. So I wasn't there yet. And as we've gone on through the last 8 or 9 days, I've tried to get there. Of course, Denmark, as you know, that is the ultimate goal, right, is to get there. And I think now that it is Super Bowl week, I think that I've finally gotten to the point where I'm beginning to get excited about this game. Kansas City comes in. Dynasty, I think, will be the word of the day if they win. Maybe they're already a dynasty, but certainly they will be if they win on Sunday. That'll be 3 Super Bowls for Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I think at that point, legit conversation can be had about Andy Reid being the greatest NFL coach of all time. I think legit conversation can be had about Patrick Mahomes maybe only being second at this point to Tom Brady among the greatest quarterbacks that have ever lived. And keep in mind, Patrick Mahomes is 28 years old. I believe he'll be 29 in July. And he's already going for his 3rd Super Bowl. And he's playing in his 4th Super Bowl game. So that's the Kansas City side of things. Of course, there's the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift stuff. As far as San Francisco goes, I think Brock Purdy's a great story, man. from Mr. Irrelevant, literally the last guy taken in the NFL draft, to an NFC champion and one win away from a Super Bowl champion. That's a great story. It really is. Kyle Shanahan, the head coach, back in the Super Bowl, 7 years since he was the coordinator in Atlanta when they blew a 28-3 lead to New England. He still gets blamed for that to this day. Kyle Shanahan can make up for a lot of wrongs in his coaching career if they get the victory. So I think that as lack of interest, lack of excitement as I had maybe a week ago about this game, I've finally gotten to the point that I'm intrigued by it. And again, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, to me that is a great story. I do think if Andy Reid wins, you could have the conversation about he and Belichick. I don't think there would be anybody above Andy Reid except for Belichick at that point. And again, Mahomes doing his thing, Kelsey doing his thing. And for Kansas City, remember on Christmas Day when Las Vegas went into Arrowhead and beat them? At that point on Christmas Day, there was legit conversation about Kansas City not winning their own division. There was legit conversation about how awful the receivers were, from Marquez Valdez-Scantling to obviously Kadarius Toney and all points in between. And this just wasn't the year for the Chiefs. And think about what Kansas City has done. They went through Miami, Buffalo, and Baltimore. Miami, Buffalo, and Baltimore to get to this point. And they did the wins against, obviously, Buffalo and Baltimore on the road. Remember, Mahomes can't win a playoff game on the road. Once you take him out of Arrowhead, he's a different quarterback. Well, he goes into Bills Mafia and beats them. He goes into Baltimore, their first AFC championship game at home ever as the Baltimore Ravens, and he beats them. And now can he cap it off with another Super Bowl? And the ironic thing about all of this is San Francisco, you could legit argue, did not play better than Green Bay in the divisional round. Yet they won the game. You could argue San Francisco did not play better than Detroit in the NFC Championship. Yet they won the game. I almost think people have forgotten how good San Francisco is because they probably are lucky to be here. But remember what they did to Jacksonville. And I always think about this time of year in the Super Bowl, the Jaguars in relation to these two Super Bowl teams. Where is Jacksonville in relation to San Francisco? Where is Jacksonville in relation to Kansas City? Well, it's simple. They got outscored 51-12 by both Super Bowl teams. The Jaguars lost to Kansas City 17-9. The Jaguars were boat raced by San Francisco 34-3. Both games were right here in the friendly confines of Everbank Stadium. And the Jaguars could not muster an offensive touchdown in either game. That's pathetic, right? We want to talk about how close Jacksonville is to being a contender. And I do think they're a good team. Obviously, it was a disaster the last 6 weeks. But there is a big difference between being a good team and being a great team. And the great teams are playing on Sunday in the Super Bowl. And the great teams beat you by a combined score of 51-12 in your home stadium this year. Again, in 8 quarters against the Niners and the Chiefs, the Jaguars did not score an offensive touchdown. There is a lot of work to do here in Jacksonville. Last NFL game of the year, we'll certainly spend a lot of the rest of the week talking about it as Kansas City and San Francisco play in Super Bowl 58. Jose Sanchez, all49ers.com. He is coming up in about 45 minutes or so, a little less than an hour. Coming up next, into the world of college football. But it will have an NFL twist. We will talk Super Bowl, but I do want to dive in to these underclassmen that are not declaring for the NFL draft anymore. It makes the draft a lot weaker, a lot less depth in the NFL draft than in years past. Is it a good thing for college football? I think it is. Players are staying longer. Whether you hate NIL or not, the bottom line is NIL is keeping players in college longer, which is good for the sport of college football. We'll discuss that and more. A little college football talk with my buddy Brent Beard. You see him on First Coast News. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. It is a Tuesday night in Jacksonville, Florida with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser. Professional, steadfast, deep thinkers.
Do not touch it. Don't touch me. Do not touch it. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Mornings on the drill.
It takes two opposing forces to cause friction.
And you're just doing your job.
On 1010XL.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. Shaking things up a bit. Let's see what Carlo has to say.
The biggest thing that I received out of this Awaken 180 program was that I was able to get a best friend. And when I say that, I mean the person that I look to in the mirror every morning. I would walk by the mirror and not look. Now, the Awaken 180 program has given me the ability to look in the mirror, smile, and actually enjoy and appreciate the person I am. I went from, 301 down to 213. I've lost 84 pounds with Awaken 180.
84 pounds, and Carlo did it in under 4 months. Those, my friends, are the results you'll get with Awaken 180. Do what Carlo did, I did, Mike Dempsey, and hundreds of others in Jacksonville have done. Get back to liking the person you see in the mirror and choose Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
This year, Dell Technologies wants to help you do amazing things with their best tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors, and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Get fishing tips and stories from Captain Kevin
Bite's gonna pick up pretty soon.
on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show. Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Whoa!
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Leading the JU Dolphins to an NCAA Division I championship in 1970, Artis Gilmore still holds the highest career rebounding average in Division I history. Gilmore played in the ABA and in the NBA and was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 2011. Gilmore also serves as a special assistant to the president for Jacksonville University. I'm E.T., and this Black History Month profile on 1010XL is brought to you by Instant Keys. Fast, professional, honest locksmith service.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Hi, Jags fans. Walker Little here for my friends at Kingfish Pest Control. Playing offensive line in the NFL, I must block and protect on every down. When it comes to keeping my home pest-free, I expect that same level of protection. So I contacted Kingfish after seeing thousands of positive online customer reviews about their service. I can confirm from personal experience, bugs don't stand a chance getting past Kingfish Pest Control. Do what I did. Reach out to Kingfish Pest Control to protect your home, a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From Roll-and Lock bed covers to Lear toppers to Cam Locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
The First Coast Games is an annual corporate challenge to introduce fun activities into the workplace and focus on your employees' health and wellness goals, with some friendly competition, of course. Registration is now open through the First Coast YMCA for both recreational and challenge divisions, including pickleball, cornhole, volleyball, flag football, and other team sports. The games will begin in March. Register your company and teams at fcymca.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. It is a Tuesday evening, and we are glad you are with us. All eyes on the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday, and we'll get into that a little bit. We still have some fallout from the Senior Bowl in Mobile, and there's a lot of interesting numbers, a lot of interesting tidbits I want to throw at my buddy Brent Beard. You see him on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Mr. Beard, how are you, my friend?
Well, I'm doing okay. It's good to be with you, and again, we are watching history go before our eyes right now, aren't we?
Yeah, there's a lot going on, no question about it. And one of the things I wanted to throw at you, and I thought this was really interesting. I've been talking to a lot of draft guys getting ready for the draft coming up in late April, obviously, focusing on the Jaguars. And one of the things that was brought to my attention, I think is really interesting when it comes to the world of college football. Brent, 54 players declared for the draft this year. Compare that to over 140 that declared for the draft after 2019. Obviously, direct relation to NIL, direct relation to transfer portal, the COVID year, all of that. But for people that complain about where we are in college football right now, Brent, it's helping the sport in that regard because many more guys are staying longer.
Well, that's a positive thing, and that's that we've tracked this for years. And you had, and frankly, there have been way too many college football players who left too early, and they weren't ready to go, and their life just kind of spiraled down from there. But now they're able to get some money, and they can stay another year, maybe even two. So that's one of the I want to say few, and I guess I mean that, but that's one of the few things that's really been beneficial from what we're dealing with today.
I've often thought that guys should be allowed, once they declare for the draft, if it's not going their way. Now, when you get drafted, or if you make it to late April, then you're probably, the ship has sailed at that point. But I think some guys should even be allowed to go through the combine, maybe even pro day. And if it's obvious they're not getting good reviews from the scouts, they should be allowed to go back. Because as you said, a lot of guys declare because they get horrible advice from people in their circle, and it really alters their life when they don't get drafted into the NFL.
Well, look, I'll take it a step further. I've often thought that it would be fair if these guys get in the draft and they don't get drafted, then they could come back. Now, the coaches would probably jump up and down and scream about that because it would hurt their roster numbers. But, yeah, I agree with that totally, that there needs to be something. And let me give you an example of this. You had two Alabama basketball players last year in Noah Gurley and Betty Ocko, who they get bad advice to go to the NBA. Okay, neither one of them are doing anything. They were in the Beniaco is not even in the G League anymore. And he would have benefited, been one of the bigger big men in the SEC. Now I know that's apples and oranges with different sports, but the point is still there. And I'm with you. These guys need to have enough grace where if they make a mistake and go early and had no business going early, that they could come back and be able to play and finish their education.
Brent, the general thought, again, we're here with Brent Beard. You see him on First Coast News. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. I know you do a lot of radio interviews. I know you were on with your brother earlier this week out in the state of Alabama. I always love that when Brent and Brett Beard get together on radio. I'm always curious, though, the thoughts about the portal, the thoughts about NIL from your circle of media brethren that cover the college football game. What is the thought on it right now in 2024?
We're trying to it's like trying to handle a grease pig. We're trying to get a handle on it, and it's just really hard to do that. So, and we just don't know where this thing is going. But I will say that a lot of guys and women that I've talked to in the media really do think that we're headed toward NFL light, meaning the day is coming sooner than later, where we're going to have collective bargaining, we're going to have contracts, which means players can get fired too, and we're going to have a pay scale that is different from quarterbacks than offensive linemen. Of course, that is now to a degree. That's one thing. The other thing is that the conferences are going to break away from the NCAA. They're going to morph into their own entity and end up making a lot of different rules and so forth for themselves. So are you hearing something similar?
Yeah, it's interesting because you brought up the Big Ten and the SEC thing to me last week, and we'll get to that in a moment. And the reason I wanted to ask you about NIL is the NCAA all of a sudden, Brent, seems to be coming down on some of these schools. And Florida State a couple of weeks ago, and now Tennessee is in the crosshairs, and Tennessee has come fighting back saying, wait a minute, if you're going to do this to us, there's every school in America is doing the same thing we're doing with these NILs and these money entities and everything going on now on these campuses. And I'm just curious why all of a sudden you think the NCAA is trying to make examples out of a couple of these programs.
They're trying to resurrect themselves into being relevant again, and they think that by punishing some of these more high-profile schools, that will help them in the long run get back to being relevant, and also will put the fear of God in some of these schools for them when that ship has sailed. You remember, I remember it. There was a day decades ago to where people were afraid of the NCAA, and that caused them to, shall we say, behave a little bit more than they might be doing now. That's where some of that's coming from. They've got a new president, that they've got they're trying to streamline themselves, but yet they still are looking at this, shall we say, amateur model that they're basing their business on. And the world is changing, and they're not changing much because of it.
Well, and I don't blame Tennessee and Florida State because, look, everybody's doing it. You've heard stories. I've heard stories. Everybody's doing it. It's just odd that the NCAA decides, all right, those are the two schools that we're going to come after. If you're going to penalize Florida State and Tennessee, you're going to end up penalizing every school in college football at some point.
Well, that's true, and there is no doubt everyone is. And look, a lot of this, Tennessee is in this situation that they may have gotten it by now or not announced it, but from what we understand, Tennessee, we're doing stories on the NCAA trying to hit Tennessee, And Tennessee hasn't even received the notice of allegations yet. So, or at least we haven't heard that they have. And I think the other thing is a lot of these schools, frankly, and this is true, I know they're trying to defend themselves, they really don't know what the rules are. I mean, it's like getting pulled over for going 70 and there's no speed limit. And you're trying to explain that to the officer who doesn't understand. So it's a difficult situation right now, to say the least.
You know, it is. Again, Brent Beard, you see him on First Coast News. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. And you talk about the future of collegiate athletics, and obviously that goes to NIL and the portal as we're talking about. You pointed out something to me late last week that's very interesting. Obviously, the two giants in college sports right now when it comes to conferences are the Big Ten and the Southeastern Conference. And apparently, Brent, there's been some dialogue between those two conferences about forming some sort of a committee to get together to talk about the future of collegiate athletics.
Well, this is a thing that people need to pay attention to because this is the direction that we're going. The SEC and the Big Ten have basically fired a shot across the bow to say either get your act together or we are going to go ahead and do our own thing. And doing our own thing means, and they haven't got all that straightened out yet, but I can tell you they're working on it and they're making plans for it. And they say they formed this committee. Well, they've been meeting for quite a while, is a reality of it. So, and if they do this, this means that, look, they're tired of, and I'm just throwing names out here, okay? North Dakota State, Southern Miss, and Slippery Rock of telling them what to do. And those schools having as much say-so as they do, they want more money. I mean, they're getting more money, too. Let's be honest about that. But this is something that's truly happening. And I think it's going to happen sooner or later. And look, these are people who are they're smart people. They know a lot of what they're doing. They've thought about this for quite a while. And it's not going to happen overnight, but this is going to happen, I believe, within 5 years to where the SEC and Big Ten just basically form one humongous conference. And what this also means is other teams are going to get involved. The expansion is not over, and the ACC is going to be rated. It's going to start with Florida State because Florida State's going to announce before this summer that they're getting out. I mean, everybody knows they are, that they're just trying to negotiate the money right now is what's happening. So that's the other huge thing that's going on before our eyes, too.
That's crazy to think about that. And again, I think that's the direction it's probably going. And let's play a hypothetical here. I mean, obviously this is way down the line and we're just spitballing. But if the Big Ten and the SEC do form some sort of super conference, right, and break away, I mean, what does that mean for teams like Virginia Tech and Kansas State? I mean, reputable programs in the Big 12 and the ACC. I mean, are they all going to try to get in this super conference? I wouldn't think there'd be room for everybody.
No, it won't be, and I can understand them trying to do that. But your point is a good one, which leads to the other part of this would be and look, what you may see at some point is the SEC and the Big Ten having their own playoff within both the conferences. So what that means is the teams that aren't going to be invited to play in the sandbox, they're going to have to do something, and particularly with the the South Alabamas and the FIUs and in these non-power five, you say five, now it's four, non-power four conferences what they're going to have to do, heck, they need to start meeting too, don't they? They need to start making up their own plan and form their own playoff and get their own TV contract. This is going to force these other schools, if they want to or not, to eventually do that. And look, the other thing that you've got going on, and I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but you probably saw where Dartmouth basketball players are now considered employees of the school.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been a National Labor Relations Board ruling. Look, I'm not going to play lawyer and businessman here because a lot of this stuff we don't understand, and I don't want to confuse people. But we've got more going on right now, and more change over the last few months, and probably toward the end of this year or next year, than we will have had, I want to hesitate to say, in 30 years.
Yeah, the days of your grandfather, your father, or even your older brother's college athletics are over. It is a different ball game, no question about that. Brent, leave us with this. We'll do a lot more of this next week, and we'll recap the Super Bowl. I know you're a college guy, but you're also a football guy, and the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. You know, who would have ever thought when Brock Purdy was doing his thing in the Big 12, and Patrick Mahomes, for that matter as well, that they would one day meet up in Super Bowl 58. What's your thought on the Chiefs and the 49ers on Sunday evening?
Well, I'll take the Chiefs because of Mahomes, and also I just think their defense is playing well. I know they've got a lot of injuries. I get that. But it's still hard to bet against Mahomes in a situation like this. You're right. Purdy has been incredible. I love Deebo Samuel, and boy, you really wonder what he really. I mean, he was good, but just to think about this, and you probably have. Imagine if a Deebo Samuel had been with an Alabama or a Florida or Tennessee or Georgia, what that would have been.
Yeah, to think Deebo Samuel and the impact he has made in the NFL. I mean, I remember him at South Carolina, Brent, but he was a good player, but what he's turned into, and you could say that about a lot of guys. Travis Kelce, I don't remember him at Cincinnati, right? George Kittle at Iowa. I vaguely remember George Kittle at Iowa, and it's just amazing that these guys, for whatever reason, get overlooked for a variety of different things, yet they go to the NFL and they've all flourished.
Yeah, and give them credit for that. So, but it is still, almost like a national holiday with that too. And listen, I don't want to be the old man screaming at the cloud, but this Pro Bowl thing's got to go. Look. What, and I know some people probably enjoy that, but what they really need to do, if they're not going to have a serious game, just have a banquet and give out trophies and recognition and go from there.
Yeah, they were playing tic-tac-toe with kickers. Yeah. That's what they were doing. And Dan Orlovsky out-threw all the Pro Bowl quarterbacks in the precision passing when he was wearing a suit and tie. It was an interesting week in Orlando, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it's the problem is NFL is too smart for this. When you get something that's becoming a joke, heck, don't you have to do something?
No, I agree. I mean, I watched some of it, but some of it was even too silly for me. You get Brent Beard on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, have a fantastic week. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and we'll be back next week to recap it and talk about what else is going on in the world of college football. Thank you, my friend.
Always, brother. Take care.
There you go, Brent Beard. You get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. You also see him over there on First Coast News. And, yeah, again, 54 underclassmen declared for the draft this year. Compare that to over 140 that declared back in 2019. Goes to show you the power of NIL. Speaking of college football, by the way, we'll do a little high school spotlight coming up in the 11 o'clock hour as a couple, actually not a couple, there's a lot of young men and women for that matter that are going to sign tomorrow on the February signing period. Remember, tomorrow was originally the National Signing Day. Tomorrow originally was the Super Bowl for Recruitniks. Obviously, the early signing period in December has basically crushed that. 95% of the work is done now in December. But there are some guys that will be signing tomorrow, and we're actually going to have a couple of them on here on Hacker After Dark. Lathan Biddle of Bartram Trail. He's on his way to Utah. Get this for Lathan. 2,200 yards rushing and 26 touchdowns for Bartram Trail in 2023. He was incredible. He's actually getting ready to play baseball now for Bartram Trail before he heads to Salt Lake City. We'll have him on in the 11 o'clock hour. And Nico Smith, the quarterback from Yulee. He spent 3 years at Yulee, freshman, sophomore, and senior year. He went to Ware County in the state of Georgia for his junior year, and all he did was win a state championship there. Came back to Yulee for his senior year, led the Hornets to the playoffs. He is going to be a walk-on down to the University of Miami, and we'll talk to Nico Smith about that as well. So a little high school spotlight coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. Coming up next, the NBA trade deadline. Less than 48 hours away, Thursday afternoon. What players are on the move? We got the All-Star break coming up, and we only have about 30 games remaining in the NBA regular season. Let's talk Orlando Magic. Let's talk Los Angeles Lakers and all points in between. My buddy Zach Hanshu of Roto World covering the National Basketball Association. He's next. Our late night show on a Tuesday. We're glad he stayed up with us. It's Hacker After Dark here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Franchi Show.
What do you guys have that none of the other teams have?
Frank Franchi, Hayes Carline, and Lauren Brooks.
This is my show.
Not right now, it is. Weekday afternoons.
Oh, the three of you are like my fantasy football team.
On 1010XL.
I'm Taylor Rose with our Remedy Staffing Westside office off of Normandy Boulevard. We are helping great people find great jobs. Remedy has helped some of the best employers in Jacksonville find talented job seekers like you for over 25 years. Our current job openings range from entry-level distribution center pickers to equipment operators. Apply today at remedygoodjobs.com. Don't wait. Apply at remedygoodjobs.com now.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
If you'd like to work for the Jumbo Shrimp this season, bring your resume to 121 Financial Ballpark, Saturday, February 10th from 10 to 1. Learn more at jackshrimp.com.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps families battling childhood cancer, and there are ways you can help. Go to tcjfund.org.
The 5-Star Veterans Center of Jacksonville is the place homeless veterans can go to recover, recharge, retrain, and reconnect. Learn more at 5starveteranscenter.org.
City Rescue Mission provides life-changing support for the homeless. Find ways to get involved at crmjax.org.
There is a critical need for all blood types. Please consider donating to a local blood donation center.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
Is your roof showing signs of wear and tear? Well, don't wait for problems to escalate. Call Universal Roofing Contracting today to schedule your complimentary roof inspection. Right now, get 15% off roof replacement or repairs, plus flexible financing. This offer expires February 29th and restrictions apply. Universal Roofing Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. A customer called DuckDuckRooter saying they had some nasty stuff backing up inside their home. So we went with our camera to look inside their plumbing lines. And sure enough, tree roots in the sewer line. Need to see what's blocking your lines? Call our team to locate the issue and provide solutions to resolve it. 904-862-6769. Visit DuckDuckRooter.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jags. DuckDuckRooter, your fully insured and certified plumbing contractor, residential and commercial.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On February 6, 1967, Muhammad Ali pummels Ernie Terrell for 15 rounds to retain his world heavyweight boxing crown.
Men suffering from ED or PE, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Prime Men's Medical Center. For a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free. You'll even get a gift that enhances performance in the bedroom. Call 904-664-8217.
Smoke and carbon monoxide detectors are two of the best life-saving investments for the safety of your family. Mr. Sparky will install the best unit for your home.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Your on-time electrician, Mr. Sparky of the First Coast. New and pre-owned firearms are always in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimbar, Smith & Wesson, Sig Sauer, and Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it worse. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
If your resolution is to improve your golf game, you'll want to consider Hidden Hills Golf Club's annual range membership. One low price gives you 12 months of unlimited access to our Bermuda Grass Complex. Visit hiddenhillsgc.com.
Dave Binion here with my son Ammon, who is the air duct cleaning manager at Zero Res. So Ammon, you may notice a little rattle in my voice and some puffiness in my eyes. That's because allergy season is coming on. Can Zero Res help?
Yes, your health has a lot to do with the air you breathe. A clean and healthy home begins with clean air. At Zero Res, we can help clean the air in your home by cleaning your air ducts, cleaning the coils in your HVAC units, and fogging the system with a powerful antimicrobial that helps kill and control the growth of microorganisms in your air. We also have options for maintaining your clean air with our excellent inline air purifier and UV lights that will help keep your system clean and healthy. At Zero Res, we are more than just air duct cleaners. We're a clean air specialist.
So, what deals do you have this month?
Right now, get $100 off your air duct cleaning, and while we're at it, we'll give you $50 off your dryer vent cleaning.
Zero Res.
Spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
CEROREC. Zero Res.
Lauren Brooks here from Mayport CNC Fisheries. Growing up at the beach, I know good shrimp and oysters when I see them. It's local and it's fresh. That's why Mayport CNC Fisheries is my go-to for both. They have local shrimp in stock daily and fresh boxes of oysters. Eat like a local at Mayport CNC Fisheries.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The NBA, we are well past the midway point. The All-Star break is coming up. And, of course, the trade deadline comes up in 2 days on Thursday, February the 8th. With all that being said, let me welcome in my buddy Zach Hanshu of Roto World. He does a great job covering the NBA, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Zach, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Zach, we're good, man. Thank you for the time. And all right, Paolo Banchero, an all-star for the Orlando Magic. Your reaction to Paolo getting that honor his second year in the league?
I'll be honest with you, Ryan. I don't know how much I can add here. I mean, this guy has just been phenomenal this season. I mean, he has his team in the position to make the playoffs this season. He looks great. He looks phenomenal as a scorer. Over the last month, he's shown that he can rebound. He can operate as the team's primary playmaker. He's shown some really strong flashes on defense. I don't know what else to add about this guy. I mean, he's just been phenomenal.
It's amazing what happens when Orlando's healthy. And you and I have talked about this. There were times where they were without 5 or 6 or 7 guys. Now they're healthy. They've won 3 in a row. They got a big couple of games coming up, Miami, San Antonio, Chicago. But the schedule's getting easier, Zach. I think I saw Orlando's got one of the easiest schedules remaining in the league. Boy, they could really accumulate some wins here down the stretch.
Yeah, I think they definitely can. Right now, they're the 7th seed in the East, and as you mentioned, they kind of had that front-loaded schedule. They played some tough teams, especially some tough Western Conference teams. If they can start lightening up that schedule a little bit, they're 4 games over 500. They could certainly climb out of this play-in tournament.
Trade deadline for Orlando. We've heard a lot of rumors, and what I don't understand, Zach, is all the rumors seem to be around point guards, and maybe I have my Orlando Magic blinders on here, But I like Markelle Fultz, and I like Jalen Suggs and Cole Anthony. And, I mean, when I hear Kyle Lowry and I hear all these other guys that are rumored to Orlando, what is the thought there in your opinion? Why do they seem to be looking for point guard help?
Yeah, I guess it's because, Markelle Fultz has, again, missed some time this season. I guess that's always the concern with him. But, yeah, I agree with you. I think this is a great collection of talent they have at guard. You have Cole Anthony, who's just that microwave scorer. You have Jalen Suggs, who's just a defensive hound. And then, of course, you have Markelle Fultz. He can just do a little bit of everything. When he's healthy, he's a triple-double threat. He can rebound, he can pass. Obviously, he can score. So I guess they're projecting that, the Magic want to get some veteran help in there. But I really don't see that argument. I think they're doing great with the young talent they have, and I don't see why they would need to ruin that right now. It's a cohesive unit.
Zach Hanshu of Roto World. Zach, what about the other team in the state of Florida? Miami actually is one game back of Orlando at the time you and I are talking. And look, they got great players. Obviously, they've had injury problems in their own right, but certainly Miami, 50 games in, disappointment? Is that fair where they're at right now?
Yeah, I think it's big disappointment right now. I would say based on, maybe your expectations coming into the season. I don't think anybody expected them to be at the same level they were last year. Obviously, they lost some rotation pieces in Strus and Gabe Vincent. Kyle Lowry got shipped off, and they brought in Terry Rozier, who I think they were expecting to maybe provide a spark for them. But Terry Rozier is not a true point guard like Kyle Lowry. He's a high-volume, low-efficiency type of scorer, and that's not really something they need right now. They have a good scorer in Tyler Hero. They have three-point shooters who are capable. They have defense in Jimmy Butler and Bam. So if they could bring in a true point guard, I think that would be helpful for them. But I'm not entirely sure Rozier is the answer for them. They're 2-8 over their last 10, and they are really slipping down the standings right now.
Zach, what does Doc Rivers do for the Milwaukee Bucks?
He gets them to a 1-3 record since joining the team. I don't know what he does for them. I guess he appeases Giannis. And Dame, I'm sure to a lesser degree, because both of those guys would have had to sign off on Griffin getting canned and bringing in somebody like a Doc Rivers. But to be honest with you, I'm a bit baffled, by the coaching change. Griffin had them in position to, compete for the number 1 seed.
Zach Hanshu of Roto World talking NBA with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. In the Eastern Conference, Milwaukee fires their coach. Philadelphia has been in free fall, and now Joel Embiid is going to miss a significant amount of time. Zach, can Philly survive without Embiid until hopefully he gets back later in the year?
Absolutely not. There's no reason to think that this team can be competitive without Joel Embiid. They have Tyrese Maxey, who's going to really have to carry the load for them because this is arguably one of the worst benches in basketball. They really have no depth on this team. You have an aging Tobias Harris. Like I mentioned, you have a Tyrese Maxey who's just been phenomenal this year. But he's really been better as a 1B, to Embiid's 1A. And then you have guys like a Kelly Oubre who's capable, but again, he's not going to be that top option that you're looking for. So no, it's impossible, I think, to replace a 35-point scorer and potentially unanimous MVP had he stayed healthy.
With all due respect to Milwaukee and Cleveland and New York, they're good teams. Indiana. Are the Eastern Conference playoffs going to be the Boston Celtics Invitational? Is that the way it looks right now?
That's the way it's looking right now. This team is deep. This team has the ability to rest their guys on back-to-backs. They have multiple all-stars. It's just, they are pulling ahead of every other team in the conference. They're 5 games ahead of Cleveland and Milwaukee at this point. New York, Philly, Indiana, they're all a good ways back. I think this is definitely the Celtics Invitational. You know what, though? I will give the caveat that I feel like we've said this in years past, and evidently the Celtics have some sort of postseason meltdown. So, as a West Virginia guy, I would love to see Joe Mazzulla get this team over the hump, though, this year.
Couple of more for Zach Hanshu of Roto World covering the NBA. Zach, out west, look, I don't think a lot of people thought Minnesota and Oklahoma City were going to be carrying the torch in the West, but they kind of are right now. Who are you more surprised by, the T-Wolves or the Thunder?
I'm more surprised by the T-Wolves. I had high expectations for the Thunder coming into this season. They look like a team on the rise last year, and I really think Chet Holmgren has kind of taken them over the top. We can't really diminish SGA's MVP level play either. But the Timberwolves, I think they were such a disappointment last season and looked like they were trending in the wrong direction that it's just been great to see what they've been able to do this season. One of the top defensive teams in the NBA. Getting a lot of production out of their bench. Rudy Gobert, after last season's debacle, seems like he's really starting to fit in now with Karl Anthony Towns. Anthony Edwards taking another step in terms of scoring, in terms of efficiency. So for me, it's the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Denver, the defending champion, they've had a couple of losses, but obviously they're still very good. Dare I say the Clippers thing is working, right, with James Harden and Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, at least for the here and now. What is your thought on the Western Conference as a whole here 50 games in?
I think this is, we talked about the Eastern Conference being so top-heavy. I think the Western Conference, we're going to see some fireworks in the playoffs here. I mean, we have the Thunder, the young guns coming out, taking over that top seed, potentially competing for that top seed to close the season out. You have the Timberwolves, again, reliant on their defense. And the Clippers, man, 9-1 over their last 10. They are surging right now. I've got the pleasure to go out and watch them play against Washington last week. They absolutely destroyed them. And it's crazy just how good Kawhi Leonard looks when he's healthy. Russell Westbrook can still get up. He can still give you some good minutes off the bench. And James Harden, man, I mean, James Harden does what James Harden does. So, yeah, I think the Clippers are a team to watch out for right now. They're really starting to put things together, and they're surging at the right time.
Zach, there are some really bad teams in the Eastern Conference, right? Charlotte, Washington, Detroit. I mean, I don't know if the NBA can do anything or even wants to do anything, but is there a concern in the East particularly how good, say, the Celtics, Bucks, those teams are, and just how awful teams like Detroit, Charlotte, and Washington are right now?
Yeah, I think there's a huge concern. I think people expected Washington to be bad after they had their fire sale last year. They got rid of Porzingis, they got rid of Beal, and just totally rebuilding the roster after years of just kind of languishing in that mid-tier in the East. But Detroit, man, this is an ownership problem. I mean, this team is consistently horrendous. And at 6-43 right now, I mean, this is maybe the worst they've ever looked. I think coaching is a problem as well because they're if you look at some of the lineups they're putting out there, they're not giving minutes to some of the young guys that they really need to prioritize, such as, like an Austin Thompson, who they took, with another lottery pick this year. And Charlotte, I think the biggest concern for them is going to be the health of LaMelo Ball. I mean, this guy cannot stay on the court. Brandon Miller has been absolutely phenomenal, their number 2 pick this year. So I think the team is in good hands with him. But without LaMelo Ball, I mean, it's been a disaster for Charlotte.
Zach Hanshu of Roto World. Zach, I know you got to run before we get out of here. Trade deadline, 2 days away. It's been a little active to this point. Anunoby, right, goes to the Knicks for Barrett, and Quigley back to Toronto. That's probably the biggest one so far. How active will the next 48 hours or so be, in your opinion?
I think there's a few teams that absolutely should make some moves. I'm really looking for the Nuggets and Mavs to make some significant moves. I'm really thinking the Lakers are going to go ahead and make a move as well. They have been active at every trade deadline, I feel like, for the past few years, trying to get LeBron and AD some additional help. So I'm expecting it to be busy again this year. I think we have some.
Some people call it X.
What?
Some still call it Twitter.
Okay, I got it.
Whatever you call it, it's the best place for up-to-the-minute Jags coverage from 1010XL.
Make someone's heart pop on Valentine's Day. Show your love with a bouquet of chocolate roses, chocolate-covered popcorn, or a box of decadent truffles. Peterbrook is taking pre-orders for chocolate-covered strawberries. So get your order in and get those hearts popping.
This is your Mad Dads Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. Mad Dads is asking for good, committed men who want to be part of an organization that has been around for 17 years. We are a group that is part of the solution, not the problem. We are a group that don't stand around murmuring and complaining, but get into action and hit the streets to get the community to break the code of silence to remove the murderers off our streets. We do not require a lot of time, just willing and able bodies to get involved. We've had far too many murders this year already not to get involved. If you want to be part of this great organization, call 904-718-1649. We're looking for men, not men acting like boys. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. For information about Mad Dad, go to Mad Dads Jacksonville Chapter Facebook or MadDadsJacksonville.com.
This is Hayes Carlion for QC Kinetics. Are you sick and tired of achy joints? Look, you need to call QC Kinetics today. They've got 2 great locations, Mandarin and Ponte Vedra Beach. Give them a call for a free consultation at 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. Look, the state of healthcare is always changing. It's evolving, and old ideas like steroids and surgery, they're no longer your only options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative, non-surgical, drug-free treatments that deliver lasting results. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, arthritis, injury. Don't let this pain keep you from living your best life. QC Kinetics advanced state-of-the-art treatments harness and direct your body's natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Give them a call today, QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522.
The flagship station of the Jaguars, WJXL-FM, Jacksonville Beach.
Lower mortgage rates are here, and smart homeowners are wiping out all their credit card debt with help from Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Right now, Loan Pronto has a cash-out refinance rate of just 5.49%. You heard me. That's a huge drop. So you can get refinanced now, get cash out of your home's equity to wipe out all those credit cards and other high-interest loans. You can save hundreds every month with lower payments. Or, if you still have a mortgage rate in the 3s, you can use Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit. Just get the cash you need and leave your primary mortgage intact. Loan Pronto can get you $50, $75, $100, even $200,000 in just a matter of days. Bottom line, Loan Pronto's got several options to help you erase debt and take control of your finances. Call today, and you can even skip your next 2 mortgage payments. Call Loan Pronto now at 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508, or loanpronto.com, 999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, 5.49%, has a 6.39 APR, subject to lender approval.
Hi, everybody. Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. This Sunday's the big game. Look, don't blame me. This would be much easier if I could say this has finally come. Parties, football, libations, food, all the festivities we welcome every February. The question is, what if you're trying to lose weight but still enjoy watching the with friends? The answer? Nothing. As I've told you before, Awaken 180 is built for real-life scenarios. The reason Awaken 180 is now in their 9th year and growing nationally, the program works. Eat wings and meatballs while watching the Super Bowl. Have a beverage while betting on the Super Bowl. Live your life while enjoying the Super Bowl. I think you get the point. Whether you're in the weight loss phase or in free lifelong maintenance, Awaken 180 won't get in the way of enjoying the big game. Reserve your consultation today at awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800 for Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and I always tell you, hey, what's hot on the street, but what is hot on the water right now?
We've got some big news from Honda. They have a boat coming out, and much like they did with their jet, they went out and partnered with an industry leader in Scout Boats. He's making the hull for them, but everything else in the boat is all Honda.
So you're talking in the next handful of days and weeks, we will see Honda on the water at your showroom.
It'll be on the showroom, and it'll be ready to go.
So log on to cyclesofjacksonville.com. They are in the marine business with Honda. Keep track of it right there on Atlantic near Regency.
Hi, I'm Tyler Oldenburg with The Players. The Players is proud to support the Clothes Closet in their mission to help Clay County residents who are in crisis. It's 35 days until the Players Championship.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. Super Bowl 58 on Sunday, February the 11th. It will be the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. The two teams remaining 32 started, 2 remain, and 1 will hoist the Lombardi Trophy on the 11th day of February. With that, when it comes to San Francisco, our guy out in the Bay Area is Jose Sanchez, all49ers.com, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Jose, how you doing?
I'm doing good, my friend. It's crazy how the 49ers pulled that out of their hat, huh?
2 weeks in a row, Jose. I mean, you and I talked last week prior to the Detroit game after the Green Bay game, and I'm not sure the Packers didn't outplay San Francisco, yet they found a way to win in the fourth quarter. And, man, the same thing. I'm not sure if Detroit didn't outplay San Francisco, yet again, San Francisco finds a way in the fourth quarter, and they're now NFC champions.
Yeah, and that goes to show why they're the number one seed and an elite team, right? That you just can't give the 49ers, your own 1 to 2 best quarters or even 3. You have to literally consistently be that. And for the Lions, all they were was a first half. And the Packers, they were essentially that for 3 quarters. But that just goes to show, how the 49ers really are this team that, hey, they're the top seed for a reason. They're good enough where they don't need their A or even B game. I mean, against the Packers, I gave them, overall, a C, C- type of game. And against the Lions, it was a C+, B-. And that was not anywhere near their best games. Both of those games are in their, bottom 5, bottom 6. Or even including the losses, it was just man, what is this team? What is this team looking like compared to what we've seen throughout the course of the year? But I just say that luckily at least they were down at halftime and not in the fourth quarter, because if that was the case, there's no way they're pulling that right out of the hat. I was almost close to feeling in doubt that they were going to lose to the Lions, only because again it was halftime. It's okay, there's a chance, but how are you going to get these adjustments? Because it really was that Lions rushing attack, like it was against the Packers, that the rushing defense could not do anything to slow them down. It was no surprise that they were going to do that. They have 2 electric running backs in Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. So, yeah, that was just they just basically just cannot continue to do this going to the Super Bowl. Because right now I'm going to say there's definitely a little concern with this area right now.
Jose, the reaction among you and your colleagues out there, obviously it's gotten a lot of play since the game, just about Dan Campbell and the fourth downs. And, I mean, look, Detroit did San Francisco, to me, a lot of favors in the way they managed that game. What was the reaction among the 49ers faithful out there among the way Detroit handled that?
Yeah, I think there's kind of a fair split in terms of the 49ers actually persevering and doing their own things. And then the other side, which I'm actually leaning more heavily on, is the Lions gave that away. Dan Campbell was a fool for that 4th and 2. And I get it, it's what we do. It's what we do here. We go on 4th down. It's yeah, look, I get it. It's what you do. But what he kind of did was take a baseball standpoint, right? It's hey, here's the spreadsheet. We're going to do this all the way through the regular season, and we're going to do what we do in the postseason. It's no, you need adjustments. At some point, you need managerial adjustments. And in this game, you need to read the room, read the situation. You guys are up by 14. You could have gone up by 17 after the Niners just cut it down to 14 in the previous drive. And what you do right there is more risk than reward, right? It's like you risk just a first down for what? And then you fail that. It's essentially a turnover, right? It's a turnover. That's going to feed the team, to feed the defense, and swing the momentum. It's like, okay, we got a huge stop. This easily could have been a score. Let's go down the field and beat them. And, it's not like the Niners were really pushing. It's not like the 49ers were really dominating on that ensuing drive after. But all it took was that one lucky, incredible outlier play from Brandon Ayuk to really put the momentum on the 49ers side. So, yeah, to me, I felt like it was definitely more heavily skewed towards Dan Campbell giving the 49ers life. And heck, there's no denying that was a turning point. I mean, even Bosa coming off the field, I saw him in the postgame interview. He said, "Yeah, I think the time I really swung us together was when we made that 4th and 2 stop." And it's like, well, you're kind of a fool for not taking that, Campbell. Just take the 3 points. You're already up. It just reeked of desperation. He went for it on that 4th and 2, but doesn't go for it on 4th down going into the half when he's actually at the touchdown. At the end zone, that made no sense to me.
Yeah, it was a bad day. I like Dan Campbell a lot, but it was a bad day for him on Sunday. Jose Sanchez, all49ers.com, here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. All right, obviously the greats, Joe Montana, Steve Young, other guys like Colin Kaepernick, Jimmy Garoppolo, and now Brock Purdy adds his name to the list of quarterbacks that have taken San Francisco to the Super Bowl. Jose, if Brock Purdy wins the game, if they're hoisting the Lombardi Trophy, kind of where does this put him in San Francisco lore among the great quarterbacks in that franchise's history?
Yeah, he definitely supplants Jimmy Garoppolo, Jeff Garcia, Colin Kaepernick. He'll definitely be quarterback number 3, and I think especially because of his story, right? And it's not just for the 49ers. I think NFL lore as well, right? You were the Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick in the draft, and what I like to also say is he was a fringe undrafted free agent. He literally was minutes away from being that. It was insane to me how close of a difference is, which actually if he was an undrafted free agent, he'd be getting paid more right now. So it's just a crazy story of how this would be, about how a guy who really no one expected, and the 49ers didn't expect him to be this either. I don't care what anybody says, they didn't expect this. If they did, they would have drafted him earlier. They didn't know that. That's why they went into our 2022 year. Trey Lance is our guy. Jimmy Garoppolo is our backup. Brock Purdy is our third stringer. Because if they really believed in Brock Purdy and thought he was more capable, he would have been Trey Lance's direct backup, but he wasn't. And so they really stumbled upon him in the situation, which is funny because they tried so hard for a few seasons to really look for that new quarterback to replace Garoppolo. And it turns out the one that they ended up finding as replacements was the one they weren't even looking for in the first place. So it's just a crazy story of how it's gone, what he did last year, leading the 49ers to get to the Eagles, get to the NFC Championship against the Eagles, and then now to the Super Bowl. It's really fascinating and just a crazy story of where he's at, and especially how he's doing it. He's not getting carried. He's not necessarily a game manager. I know there's a lot of discourse out there, but he's not elite either. He's right there in the middle where he's a really good quarterback. This year he's been the 6th, 7th, or 8th best quarterback in my eyes. So. Yeah, if they get it done easily, he's going to be considered the 3rd best quarterback, even with just one Super Bowl.
The crazy thing, Jose, and you alluded to it there, the Trey Lance trade was horrific for San Francisco. I mean, it was awful. You could argue that was one of the worst trades in the history of the NFL with what they gave up, and yet it has not affected them at all. Such trades have literally altered franchises, yet it's as if San Francisco did not get affected by it one iota. I mean, that's crazy to think about.
It is, right? Because 80-90% of the teams who would have gone through that would have gotten smoked by now. Kyle Shanahan would have got fired. John Lynch would have gotten fired. But it just goes to show how well these guys know how to hit in the other rounds, how to pick up these free agents, how to get the most out of their players, right? And so, look, honestly, when Trey Lance was coming out, I was on board. 2021, he should start because he's raw. Right, he hasn't played. Let the kid play, and he barely got any chances. And I was on board of doing that. But it's just when you're such a win now roster, it's can we afford to wait? Is seeing Trey Lance actually can be that guy worth wasting years of George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk, Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Nick, all these players, right? And it wasn't worth it. And then Brock Purdy comes in through coincidence because Lance got hurt, Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt. And he just shows them something that, whoa, we can actually win with this guy. We know he actually has what he actually can do. So it made more sense for the 49ers going into the season like, hey, I know he has an elbow injury, but basically we know what he can do with this roster in various scenarios, high-pressure scenarios, including the playoffs, whereas why would we keep going with Lance? And so that's ultimately why they moved on with him, and it turns out to be a brilliant idea. You know, thank God Purdy isn't feeling any repercussions from his elbow, because now to me, like I've been saying ever since he stepped in the fold, is he's not necessarily an elite quarterback, but he's an optimizing quarterback, meaning now instead of just one or two all-star players like a Kittle or Deebo Samuel finding impact in the game, with Purdy, every player eats. Kittle eats, Ayuk eats, Deebo Samuel eats, McCaffrey eats in a singular game. That never was the case before with Garoppolo or any other quarterback. So, yeah, he's just been a perfectly optimizing figure, and it's just working out beautifully for them. And so, yeah, thankfully none of those picks have gone, to really bite them in the rear end. And now look, now they're looking into this draft with their first-round picks back. They're really back in the fold again.
Couple of more for Jose Sanchez, all49ers.com. Of course, San Francisco and Kansas City in Super Bowl 58. Jose, a handful of guys on the team were there 4 years ago when they lost Super Bowl 54. Obviously, George Kittle is the main one. We've seen that video making the rounds saying on the sideline that night, I'm going to get back here. I'm not going to let this define me. And it's taken 4 years, but they are back there, and lo and behold, they're playing the same team that beat them in Super Bowl 54. How much does that outcome 4 years ago for the guys that are still there, how much of a motivator will that be coming up for Super Bowl 58?
Yeah, I think that should definitely add a little oomph, right, to the motivation, nice little push. But I think no matter who they were facing in the Super Bowl, like, this was going to be it, because they were really, like, galvanized. They were hurt, gut punched after that Super Bowl loss. And in that year, I was at the Super Bowl and got to talk to a couple of those players, and they were just really, they were just really, like, somber. But Kittle was the more, like, upbeat one. It's like, man, it is what it is. We'll be back here. And then, sure enough, you look 4 years later, they're back here. And they've actually been knocking on the door for so many years. I think it's not just the loss against the Chiefs and that Super Bowl, it's the losses they've suffered through these last 4 years. It's that 2020 year where it was plagued by a plethora of injuries I've never seen before in sports. And then 2021 to fail at the end against the Rams, to not even have a chance last year against the Eagles because Brock Purdy got hurt on the first drive. And now you finally get here. It's like, I think this is one thing that they definitely cannot take for granted. It's like, you guys know how hard it is to get here, how far you've come, how unfortunate your endings have been. So I understand that it would be a nice oomph because it's the same team that you lost to last time. But I think, like, it's the fact that you add on all those other pains and losses that really fuels you maybe even harder than it does that Super Bowl loss. And the combination of them all should really get them locked in. And that's why I think, entering this game, they're the ones facing the most pressure. If the Chiefs lose, no one's going to bat an eye. It's like, all right, cool. Like, they've been to 4 out of 5 Super Bowls. They already won 2. It's fine. Like, they can afford it because, I think everyone's going to think they're going to be back in the next year or two. Whereas the 49ers, it's like, you guys have been on the doorstep. Brock Purdy isn't going to be on this cheap contract for long. Trent Williams isn't going to be on the team for, he's here. He's already guaranteed next year, but what about all these other players, So this is your time now. This is your time to really put it together and reel in that 6th Super Bowl.
It is their time. It is their great opportunity. But do you believe that if they don't get it done this time around, could there be changes to this roster moving forward?
Well, I think if they lose this game, it's gonna. I think for sure, first and foremost, if the roster-wise in terms of staff changes, I think they would probably consider a defensive coordinator change because Steve Wilkes, he's been fine this year, but what you notice, especially against the Lions, right? It's the run defense. What are you doing? There's no adjustment. All of a sudden, the adjustments come in the second half, and that's been the theme for most of this year, where the defense will let the offense really throw their punches effectively in the first half, and then they come out and they really beat out. And it's like, look, you do that against the Chiefs, you're going to lose because they have a really good head coach in Andy Reid, and you're facing the best quarterback in the league. That's not going to fly. So it would be that, and then they'll be fine at quarterback. I think they would just have to look at what areas are weak, which is like offensive line. Defensive line this year has been really underwhelming. They haven't really been getting much sacks. I think they're not even middle in the pack, if that. So, yeah, there definitely have to be some tweaks and little tinkers here that you guys that they would have to figure out because, really, the pressure's on them to win the Super Bowl. They should win the Super Bowl, and I've been saying to you for weeks, there's no excuses if you lose, even against one of the greatest quarterbacks and head coaches of all time.
Final moments, Jose Sanchez, all49ers.com. Jose, as we begin to wrap up, you and I talked a couple of weeks ago. San Francisco's been great, but they have not been great this year against the AFC, right? They lost to Baltimore. They lost to Cleveland. They lost to Cincinnati. They beat Pittsburgh and they beat Jacksonville, so I believe they're 2-3 against the AFC this year. And now here Patrick Mahomes is, and Travis Kelce, and Andy Reid, and they just look very motivated after winning games against Miami, Buffalo, and Baltimore. I mean, how do you beat Mahomes? If you're San Francisco, how do you beat Andy Reid? What's your game plan going in to try to knock off the defending world champions?
Well, first you do is you want to pray. And so hopefully that he gets like at least 7 throws off, and he throws like multiple turnovers.
I appreciate your honesty on that.
It's funny because how we just talked about 4 years ago. And I've been saying this to many of my readers and colleagues is like the difference between the 49ers and Chiefs teams. 49ers are the better offense, but have a weaker defense. Chiefs have a weaker offense, but a stronger defense. And to me, it's like even though the Chiefs are weaker this year, I think they've only scored 30 points 3 times this season. I saw yesterday, so they're not necessarily a team that can shoot out. But the way the 49ers defense, especially these last 2 games, it's like, what are you doing? Like, I feel like they're going to make the Chiefs look amazing. Like, they're going to make them look normal. And then Travis Kelce's is kind of turning up. So, to me, it's like, if the 49ers can just get 3, maybe 4 drives of, like, when you hold them to, like, nothing, maybe even field goals, you'll take that. Because I think it's going to the real strength of the 49ers, honestly, this year has been in their offense. So, it's not so much, like, what can you do defensively? It's what can you do offensively, which is keep that guy on the sideline. Keep him on the sideline. You have one of the best running backs in the league, probably is going to go down as one of the best running backs of all time, Christian McCaffrey, MVP finalist. You have your 2 MVP finalists in Purdy and McCaffrey. Lead the way. Score the points and hold possession. That's really the best way because the way the defense has been looking, especially the last few games and even the season, they're just, they're good. They're good defense, for sure, top 10. But Mahomes' Chiefs offense is surging. I'm just not really feeling at all confident in the 49ers defense. All this is going to have to be won on the 49ers offense. That's where the head coach resides. That's where all the talent is. So go out there and win the game on your side.
Final question, Jose. With the game being in Vegas, obviously dollars make sense. It's going to take a lot of money, but there should be a lot of red for the San Francisco 49ers in that stadium, will there not?
Oh, yeah, you say that, but actually when I was in Miami, a plethora of Chiefs fans. It was 80 to 20 in favor of Chiefs fans.
Wow.
Maybe even 90 to 10. And I know it's like, hey, well, Miami, it's a 5-hour trip, from the Bay Area. But like, hey, from Kansas City, what is it, like 2.5 hours? So I mean, and that was in Miami. Vegas is attracting too. So to me, it's like maybe there'll be more of an uptick in 49ers fans. But I honestly, I still think it's gonna be a Chiefs home game. That was actually in the article of mine because I have videos of like how loud the Chiefs came out to of the tunnels versus the 49ers, and it was night and day. So I'm actually expecting it to be a Chiefs home game.
Interesting. Jose Sanchez of all49ers.com. Jose, I can't thank you enough. I know you're busy this week, brother. As always, enjoy the ball game, and we'll see what happens between Kansas City and San Francisco out there in Super Bowl 58. Appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Have a brilliant day, man.
The station that keeps coming back for more. More Jaguars, more Gators, more sports talk for Jacksonville. 1010XL. When you want more.
A new vehicle. Come to Key Buick GMC where we never have markups on our vehicles. In addition, Key Buick GMC is the only Buick GMC dealer with a lifetime powertrain warranty on all new Buicks and GMCs. It's a new year. Time to do some service checkups. Key has oil changes specials on most vehicles plus a tire match guarantee. Please check out our service specials at our website. Go to KeyBuickGMC.com. We're always professional grade on the corner of Southside and Gate. KeyBuickGMC.com.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. Look, it's kind of cooling down right now. I love opening my windows up this time of year. If you're looking to upgrade your windows in your home, I want you to visit the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Ask about their latest hurricane and impact-resistant windows and doors, rated #1 by Consumer Reports in all 3 main window categories. You want quality, style, and protection? Visit PellaJacks.com and the showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. That's Pella Windows and Doors online at PellaJacks.com.
Picking here, the Borland Groover Foundation proudly presents the annual March to Get Screened 5K race and 1 mile fun run. Sunday, April 14th, the race starts at 7 a.m. under the Fuller Warren Bridge. Their mission, raise awareness about colorectal cancer and related deaths. All proceeds benefit the Borland Groover Foundation. It's a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
1010XL celebrates athletic and academic greatness.
Listen for the high school scholar athlete Wednesdays on the Frangie Show.
Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
And the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234 on 1010XL.
The Bulls are back in town and taking over Jacksonville. Get ready for bull-bucking mayhem at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 23rd and 24th. U.S. Border Patrol PBR Jacksonville is bringing the city 2 nights of bull riding action, featuring the most electric 8 seconds in sports. Come see the toughest sport on dirt at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 23rd and 24th. Get your tickets today at PBR.com or Ticketmaster.
Dave Benyon with Zero Res. As the temps outside are warming up, so is Zero Res. Right now, it's the hottest price of the year. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $147, and the 4th room is free. That's right, the 4th room is on me. Google Zero Res and see what people are saying. Zero Res has over 6,000 5-star reviews. Remember, February is the hottest price of the year for Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $147, and the 4th room is free. Zero Res, spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. There's a reason so many of my friends and our listeners have had Stanley Pools build their pools and now maintain their pools, because Stanley Pools truly cares about their customers. Stanley Pools is locally owned and has been serving our community for 35 years. For all of your pool needs, call Stanley Pools at 269-7277. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools. 269-7277, or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gates store anywhere around Duval and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Ever wonder how you can transform your living spaces into captivating works of art? At First Coast Lighting and Fans, they offer a huge selection of high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Visit their showroom on Phillips Highway at the Avenues and step into a world of quality without compromise. Discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes and let them help you experience the transformation from average to extraordinary. At First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Picking here, when it comes to your eye health, you want to make the winning move. That's where Bowdine Associates comes in. February, it's the month of love. And what better way to show some love than taking care of your family's vision? Bowdine isn't just about seeing clearly. They're about making sure your eye game is in its prime. And folks, they got not 1, not 2, but 3 convenient locations across town. I call that home court advantage. So call Bowdine Associates and schedule your winning eye exam. Bowdine Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
And the high school spotlight rolls on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. You know, so much is brought in December with that signing period. People tend to forget there's also a signing period this week in the month of February. And with that, let's head out to St. Johns County. One of the best that was here in 2023 under the Friday Night Lights was at Bartram Trail. Running back Lathan Biddle is on his way to the University of Utah. And Lathan joins us here on 1010XL. Lathan, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
Hey, we're good, man. Thank you for the time. And first and foremost, congratulations, man. Heading to Salt Lake City to play for Coach Kyle Whittingham in Utah. You must be very excited.
Yes, sir. Very excited. It's a beautiful place.
What was it about Utah? What led you that direction?
Well, honestly, the coaches have been great the whole entire time through the whole process. I love Coach Q, the running backs coach. He's always been there reaching out to me. And that place is beautiful, man. It's great. The mountains are there. The stadium's massive. Campus is cool. And then you have Salt Lake City right there. And there's just so much to do, so much to see. I like to snowboard and ski and all that. So it's a perfect place for me.
People listening tonight might say Jacksonville, Florida to Utah. Well, you're originally from Kansas, if I'm not mistaken. So you're getting a broad view of the entire country, right? From the Midwest down to the Southeast, now out west to Utah. Obviously, traveling around is not going to affect you very much.
Yes, sir. I've lived almost everywhere, so another move isn't too bad for me.
For people, again, Lathan Biddle of Bartram Trail here with us on 1010XL, 2,200 yards rushing, 26 touchdowns, all the accolades of being one of the best players in the state of Florida. I believe you led the state in rushing, if I'm not mistaken. Have you taken time out in the last couple of months to really think about what you did last season?
As soon as the season was over, it kind of, dawned on me, what all happened, what all we did as a team, and just, feeling grateful for having such a good team, such a good O-line, such a good defense, because without all those other guys, we would have made it that far, and making it that far was a big reason in getting all of those yards, getting all those touchdowns, because you need more games to play to get more stats. So I appreciate my team, first and foremost, for being so good. But, after the season, thinking about it, talking to people, it was really fun to see those guys and how happy everyone was with the season, how it turned out. So it felt great. But, now we're on to a different thing. Ended up starting to play baseball again, so there's not really been much relaxing, just been getting back into it.
Yeah, I know you're a multi-sport athlete. We'll get into that in a moment. A lot was brought up of Bartram Trail after the retirement of Darryl Sutherland and how things were going to go. But, boy, Coach Johns came in and made an immediate impact with you guys. What was it like to play for him last season?
It was great. He came in. We had to work stuff out at the start, as you always do when you get a new coach, new plays, new guy up there, new feel. So once the team, figured it all out, rallied around each other, seniors kind of started talking, like, this is our team. We got to lead the way. So once we got into the season, once we started playing, we just got better every week. I think you can see that progression week in and week out. Some days, some weeks we needed the defense to step up and be great. Some days we needed the offense to step up and be great. But through the whole year, our team came together, came closer, got better every week, which is a testament to how good of a coach he is.
Couple of more for Lathan Biddle of Bartram Trail. He's on his way to the University of Utah. Look, they're entering the Big 12. That's a big deal, obviously, for Utah. But your schedule this year, Bartram Trail, I believe, had the second hardest schedule in the state of Florida, which that goes to make even more what you did. 2,200 rushing yards, 26 touchdowns, and you were playing the best teams in the state basically every week, either on a local level or a regional level. When you think back to the teams that you guys played against, the teams that you guys beat, it must make it even more special.
Yeah, it was crazy playing those teams every week because you knew you had to go out there and perform at your very best, or you weren't going to win that game, or you weren't even going to have a close game. You had to get out there and really work, because the teams we played week in and week out, once you do it every week, it starts to feel normal. And I think that's a good thing to feel, especially when you're going into the playoffs, because you're going to get some good teams. But if you don't schedule your team hard games in the beginning of the season and throughout the season, you're going to lose that edge once you get to the playoffs. So I appreciate the school and Coach Johns for getting us good games and getting us out there against the best teams, no matter what the outcome or the circumstances were.
You talk about getting ready for baseball. Obviously, we know how good you are on the football gridiron. How's the baseball game? How would you describe yourself as a baseball player?
Well, I played baseball my freshman year I hadn't picked up a bat or a glove for 3 years until tryouts last week or a couple weeks ago. Ended up making the team. So that's good. They need some speed on the base pads, getting my swing back in. I just want to hit home runs and run bases. So that should be fun.
It's interesting, too. I mean, you just committed to Utah, right? I mean, you don't necessarily well, actually, not even necessarily. You don't need to play baseball for Bartram Trail. Do you just want that experience? Do you want to live out as much as you can the high school life before you head on to play football in Salt Lake City?
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of friends on the baseball team. The baseball coaches are fun guys. They're great guys, too. And I like being involved with the athletics and stuff like that. So another sport, another thing to keep the competitive juices flowing is always great. I go to practice and then leave practice and go train for football. So it takes a lot more time and stuff to do, but it's fun. And I like getting out there and doing stuff. So it's a great time for me.
I know originally from Kansas, you spent the last few years there at Bartram Trail. Certainly, when you think back on your time at Bartram Trail, as it's going to wind down, obviously, in the next couple of months, what are your memories from there out in St. Johns County?
Well, definitely got a lot of football memories. A couple crazy games in there. Definitely a bunch of good times with the friends. A lot of cool stuff. Had a lot of great teachers. Made the classroom pretty fun. And I'm appreciative of the whole experience. I can say a few things that stood out were definitely a couple of those playoff games down there in the Panhandle. They got pretty crazy. A couple playoff games last year, winning big against some teams. And then even the year before that, having a great team that had so many college football players, D1 players, Power 5 players, playing with all those guys was so fun, and I learned a lot from all of them. So it's been a great 4 years, and sad to see it go, but excited about the next chapter.
I tell people every time I go out to Bartram Trail, it's like a college football program with the amount of coaches you guys have and the dedication they put into the football program out there. It's second to none in the area. Lathan, as we say goodbye, what's the plan, man? Obviously, you're getting ready for baseball. Are you going to enroll at Utah in the summer? Are you going to wait till the fall? How's that going to work?
We'll see. I got to keep talking with the coaches and see what the best option is. I think I'll be going up there in the summer. We talked about that, getting up there for summer camp and all that stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if I was there this summer. But yeah, get ready, focus in, and start on the next journey.
The Gators are here.
Got it to beat the buzzer.
Florida basketball.
Chop this one up for the Gators.
Hear the Florida Gators all season on 1010XL, Jacksonville's Gators station.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
Men, suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE? Frustrated taking pills that don't work? Here's a message from Prime Men's Medical Center.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough treatments with men lasting longer than ever without pain or surgery.
Call now. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results right in the office. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
This is Hayes Carlion for QC Kinetics. Are you sick and tired of achy joints? Look, you need to call QC Kinetics today. They've got 2 great locations, Mandarin and Ponte Vedra Beach. Give them a call for a free consultation at 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. Look, the state of healthcare is always changing. It's evolving, and old ideas like steroids and surgery, they're no longer your only options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative, non-surgical, drug-free treatments that deliver lasting results. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, arthritis, injury. Don't let this pain keep you from living your best life. QC Kinetics advanced state-of-the-art treatments, harness and direct your body's natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Give them a call today, QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522.
A customer with an older home and galvanized piping called saying they had poor water pressure. It smelled bad and was discolored. So we at Duck Rooter sent a highly skilled manager to discuss options. How repiping the water lines would solve the issues. The result? Clean flowing water. Call for your free estimate, 904-862-6769. Visit DuckDuckRooter.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jags. Serving commercial and residential, fully insured and certified plumbing contractor.
Grilling up lunch with Leon and the Sausage Dudes. Sausage with a purpose.
Join me, Leon Searcy, for XL Primetime, weekdays for Lunch with Leon.
On 1010XL.
I downblock with all my funk.
Join the drill with Jeff and Dan this Friday at Lifetime Enclosures on Phillips Highway. Spring is close, and that means specials on glass and screened enclosures all weekend. Drop in at Lifetime Enclosures Open House Friday through Sunday.
Visit Monahan Jewelers now through Valentine's Day for savings on all GIA certified diamonds and discounts store-wide up to 40% off. And interest-free financing on all purchases. Certified diamonds, gemstones, engagement rings, diamond studs, designer brands. Monahan's has it all. We're not a chain store. We're your local family jeweler since 1977 with a world-class inventory of fine jewelry and diamonds and gemstones available in any size. Support your local family jeweler now through Valentine's with huge savings on our inventory. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Exciting news from Leonard Truck Accessories in Jacksonville on Blanding Boulevard. Stocking brands like Real Truck, UWS, WeatherGuard, carry-on trailers, and more. The best deals with the best prices only at Leonard Truck Accessories on Blanding Boulevard. Leonard, your truck, your style.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Muhammad Ali, the legendary boxer and charismatic icon. His unyielding spirit inside the ring and fearless advocacy outside inspired a generation. Ali, a symbol of strength, conviction, and the power of resilience. It's Black History Month on 1010XL. I'm E.T., and this profile is brought to you by Instant Keys. Fast, honest, reliable locksmith service.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
And the high school spotlight continues here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM as the February signing period is tomorrow. And Yulee High School is going to have a couple people going to play big-time college football, including their quarterback, Nico Smith, who's on his way to the University of Miami. Nico joins us here tonight on 1010XL. Nico, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Nico, we're good, man. Congratulations on the commitment to Miami. You're going to go down there to further your football career, your academic career. There were a lot of options for you. In the end, what was it about Miami?
I mean, we took a visit not too long ago. It was a fantastic experience all around. The coaches, the relationships that I know I can build. And it was a beautiful campus.
What about
small class sizes?
Yeah, what about Mario Cristobal and the coaching staff? Really do you like about them?
They're just they focus a lot on me. So whenever, I felt like they were actually cared and took their time with me whenever I took that visit. And so I actually felt like I was important. And it was just, I mean, it opened my eyes. It was great. So that's also part of the reason why I chose to commit.
You know, you've had quite the high school career, not just here at Yulee, but certainly you were one of the players of the year in the state of Georgia for Ware County. You know, a lot of people compare Georgia football and Florida football in the high school ranks. You lived it in both states. Nico, what are the similarities, the differences between Georgia and Florida high school football?
People always talk about how certain states are bigger for football, but I mean, realistically, you can find talent everywhere. Kids might not have stars or have huge like names on social media or anything, but I mean, there's talent everywhere. You play great competition no matter where you're at. And I mean, Yulee, Ware County, it's a great environment in any place you go to.
I mean, obviously coming to Yulee was a big deal for them. Again, Nico Smith here with us. What was it about Yulee that led you to Nassau County, and how much did you enjoy your time there?
I've actually been in Nassau County my entire life, so we moved back.
I gotcha. So what about Yulee High School? Did you enjoy your time there as a senior, a junior, and a senior?
Yes, sir, absolutely. I spent my time here, except all my years except for my junior year, I have spent at Yulee, and I mean, I couldn't ask for much more. It's a great community, great school. I've gotten so much from these people, these teachers, coaches. It's been a great place to grow up and live.
Obviously, you're still a very young man, about to enter college, your whole life in front of you. But, boy, some great life experiences, right? A player of the year in the state of Georgia. You come back to Yulee High School to finish your high school career. What was it like playing for two different high schools at a very high level?
It was great. Like, the level of competition pushed me to be at the ability I am now. Without the competition that I faced, I don't think I'd be in a position to go to Miami. Because without the skill set that I've gained from playing at these schools, I just wouldn't fit in with the talent that they have over there in Miami.
You know, as we begin to wrap up with Nico Smith on his way down to Miami, you look at the quarterbacks in Northeast Florida this past season. There's you. I mean, there's obviously Trinity Christian, the quarterback there going to LSU. Mandarin's quarterback who has another year of eligibility in high school, but he's committed to Florida State. I mean, Bishop Kenny's quarterback is going to Iowa, so on and so forth. The caliber of quarterbacks, Nico, in Northeast Florida this past year was incredible. What are your thoughts on being part of that class?
I mean, it feels great. And what I think the best part about it is that I've grown up with these kids. So it's crazy to see all of us just succeeding and going far places. And it's just, I mean, it's incredible. Especially James Reeser at Bishop Kenny. He used to be at Yulee, and I actually was his receiver at one point.
Wow.
So
yeah.
that relationship is great.
No, that's absolutely terrific. Now, for Miami fans, Nico, that are listening tonight, that maybe haven't seen you play or they've only seen a 2 or 3 minute highlight tape, describe your game. You know, what type of quarterback are you? What style of game do you bring to the table?
I bring a little bit of everything. I'm definitely pass-first quarterback, but I extend plays when I need to. I'm definitely not your Lamar Jackson type, but, I mean, I would compare myself more to Jalen Hurts, just being able to run, having that big, strong build as well, and just being able to get those extra yards, good through my progressions, and just a great leader on the field, I think.
Your head coach out there at Yulee, Kyle Doherty, is one of my favorites in the area. What was it like to play for him?
It's incredible. I mean, the relationship I have with him is uncomparable. I mean, he's fantastic on and off the field. I see him every day at school. At practices, the energy was super high. We never had just down days where the team was just off. Like, he was always on top of us, being a great coach and just leader in general.
You know, there were some down times for Yulee after Derrick Henry left, and your class the last 3 or 4 years has really brought Yulee back, including a couple of playoff runs, including your senior year and making it to round 2 of the playoffs. Do you look back at your career at Yulee and say, we're the class that kind of brought Yulee High School back a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, yes, sir, absolutely, because it hasn't been done since, but we tied Derrick Henry's record for the school record. So, I mean, that's just an incredible feat to be able to do. And, I mean, it feels great to have this team, have these boys with me, and just be able to make history like that.
As we wrap up with Nico Smith, Yulee High School on his way down to Miami, what's your schedule like now? Are you going to enroll in Miami in the summer? Are you going to enroll in the fall? What's the plan moving forward?
I think I should be enrolled in the summer. We still have a few things to talk about and figure out, but I should be enrolled in the summer, and definitely just lots of work outside of football, staying focused in the classroom, training on my own time, working out. It's going to be a busy schedule, but I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Final question, Nico. Now that the recruiting process is over, I mean, I'm sure you had coaches calling you all hours of the day for a couple of years now. When you're a player of the year in the state of Georgia, that tends to happen, right? And then you lead Yulee to a playoff run this year. Is it a sigh of relief? Is it a weight off your shoulders that it's over now and you can just focus on football?
I would definitely say yes. It feels like it's been a long process, but looking back on it, I mean, it's in a blink of an eye, it's all gone. And that process is the only time I get to go through it. So, I mean, all the coaches that I've been in contact with, I appreciate them greatly. And I'm ready to take this next step forward.
He was a tremendous quarterback up at Ware County his junior year. He came back to Yulee his senior year, led them to the state playoffs. Nico Smith on his way to the University of Miami. Nico, best of luck, man. We'll be watching you down in Coral Gables, and we'll talk again soon.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you.
Now, today's takeaways, brought to you by Key Buick GMC, where our family dealership has been helping families buy vehicles for over 50 years.
And thank you to Nico Smith, the quarterback of Yulee, who's on his way down to the University of Miami, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. And both of those young men, Nico Smith and Lathan Biddle, both terrific players here in Northeast Florida. Lathan for Bartram Trail, of course, Nico for Yulee, one on his way to Utah, one on his way to the University of Miami. And keep in mind, everybody talks about the December early signing period, and that's where about 90% of the work is done, maybe even 95%. There are still some that will sign on the dotted line tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow was, back in the day, the Super Bowl of recruiting, right? Wednesday of Super Bowl week always seemed to be National Signing Day when there was only one National Signing Day. So obviously a lot of luster is off of the February date because of everything that transpires in December, but it is still a very big day for a lot of local athletes here in Jacksonville tomorrow, and we certainly appreciate Lathan and Nico for taking time out for us here on Hacker After Dark. Well, that'll just about do it for our late night show, our Tuesday night show here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us this evening. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Lathan Biddle of Bartram Trail, 2,200 yards rushing. The guy also scored 26 touchdowns here in the senior season. Absolutely incredible. He's headed out to Salt Lake City to the University of Utah. And Nico Smith of Yulee, who was a state champion in the state of Georgia for Ware County in 2022, came back to Yulee in 2023, led them to the playoffs. He is on his way to the University of Miami. Thank you to Jose Sanchez, all49ers.com, as we focused on San Francisco tonight. We'll spend some time on Kansas City later in the week, but tonight it was all about the 49ers, and we appreciate Jose Sanchez for previewing Super Bowl 58 with us from the 49ers point of view. My man Zach Hanshu of Roto World talking NBA as the trade deadline is now less than 48 hours away. Thursday afternoon is the NBA trade deadline. And, of course, again, congratulations to Paolo Banchero of the Orlando Magic for being named an NBA All-Star late last week. And you also heard from Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark, as we always talk about the world of college football Tuesday evenings with my buddy Brent Beard. We'll be back tomorrow night on a Wednesday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker, Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for staying up late with us on our late night show on a Tuesday here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Tuesday night. and we will do it all over again tomorrow night on a Wednesday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
XL.
I'm talking about friendship, loyalty, honor. Okay?
Honored to be your friend. Honored to serve you Jacksonville Sports Radio.
That's the corniest thing I've ever heard.
1010XL.
M-Shack Burgers, Shakes, and More is the newest sponsor of our LAX 904 broadcast, fusing together the feel of an old-fashioned burger joint with the exceptional quality found in other Maduro Brothers culinary concepts. M-Shack has been offering Jacksonville families elevated, fast casual dining options at an affordable price for over 10 years. Today, M-Shack locations in the St. John's Town Center and the Nocatee Town Center offer guests a menu that includes all-natural, hormone-free beef burgers, all-beef hot dogs, and mouth-watering milkshakes. Friends and families of La Crosse in North Florida will love the gourmet shakes like the glorious Oreo cheesecake, mouth